Let's have a look on YouTube.
Yeah. We're live. Hi guys, what's up? We're just gonna be hanging here with you all for a bit until 6:30, which is in about 7 minutes time. We'll start the pod, just making sure that the sound and video everything's okay. So since this is our first stream. People in the chat, sound video okay?
Hey guys, everyone, good evening. Just let us know if you can hear us fine, see us fine. And we'll look to kick off in another, let's say 10 minutes. Nice, first live pod. Quite excited.
I have got my drink ready.
Hopefully the power doesn't go out again.
Yeah, imagine that happening live.
Right.
Sound and video is good, they're saying. So
Perfect.
I think
That's great.
we're looking okay. Bakar told us that his PC is not fine at the moment, which we don't necessarily believe.
Bakar is hiding from Lingard.
People are checking up on your health, Zoph. How do you feel
I'm
now?
great now, guys. It's just a mild fever. Absolutely 100% fighting fit now. Thanks for asking.
Little bit of a COVID scare?
Little bit, just like, nowadays, anytime anybody has the flu, you're like, COVID.
Abhishek, here it is. It's ready. This is my second, by the way. I got my first in about 20 minutes ago when Zoph and me started testing.
No COVID, buddies. DJ Music Ace, thanks for asking. I've noticed, you guys have noticed I've changed my camera orientation. I moved my desk entirely today. So today I'll be looking at the camera this time, not be looking sideways.
Nice. Got a decent crowd also.
How many people are in the chat? I can't really see right now.
83 in the chat right now. Nice. I'll have it open. Alexander Karan Bora is asking us to make a wildcard draft for Gameweek 32. Karan, we don't do that kind of spoon feeding. I mean, we empower you with as much information as possible. That's our...
It all depends on your goals and your style as a manager, right? It depends on what your position is in the league, what what your propensity is. Your team is a sort of an extension of your personality. So that's why we really don't like doing that.
Alden's asking about the COVID situation in Bombay. It's pretty bad, actually. Where we have a briefing from the chief minister at 8:30. I'm fully expecting a lockdown announcement tomorrow onwards.
Score prediction for tonight, I think 1-0 Chelsea.
Completely forgot the Champions League games.
Yeah, you can't see that. I'm kitted out already. I always have my kit on for Chelsea games.
I've got the stream on, so I can see the...
All right, you can.
Yeah. Nice. Good couple of games. Bayern PSG is going to be a cracker. I won't be surprised if you end up watching that game as well.
No, not today.
Man, they missed so many chances in the first leg. If Leva was fit, that they'd be runaway leaders
altogether. And what's funny is I'm reading a piece today about Pochettino. So Pochettinos are now playing a very similar style to what Mourinho used to play, with the midfielders and all that stuff, creating the block. Mbappe was talking about it, and I think that's the irony there is beautiful, right? Spurs get rid of Pochettino, he moves now and he implements a style that was basically Mourinho's after moving, and Mourinho has just completely lost the plot.
Yeah. Andy's in the chat. He sent a super chat asking one very important question. Is Lingard essential? I would have loved to ask that question to Bakar, given his stance on Bakar at the moment. But yeah, like even after the performance, this is not what you'd see of him on Twitter, but he got into the group chat that we have, and he was hell-bent. There are about 7 or 8 midfielders better than Lingard at the moment. And then everybody obviously presented their arguments, and yeah, he was like, fair enough. At the end of the day, I still think he's going to be stubborn and not get in Lingard this week.
Yep, I don't think he will. And I don't think he can this week. And then he probably won't for the Chelsea game anyway, right? So I think the earliest he'll probably will get him is around 34.
Yeah. Saptarshi is asking us where the big man is. Zoph has information on that. We'll tell you more about it at 6:30 when everybody's in. I think we'll officially start in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for people to come in. Zoph, were you saying something?
No, nothing at all. I was just looking for something. Somebody's asking if Chelsea can win the UCL. I think under Tuchel, I'm pretty confident. At least we've got Liverpool on our side of the draw. I think we can beat Liverpool, and in the final, anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw that after the quarterfinals only. I thought you all had a good run to the final. Definitely a chance, especially with Tuchel.
Yeah, the key is keeping Kante fit, because I think the problem is now I think Kovacic might have picked up an injury now. That means you're going to have to play Jorginho, and like even the West Brom game, right? Both the yellow cards that Thiago Silva got, they were because of mistakes Jorginho made.
Yeah. Kovacic and Kante is just starting to midfield, right? Do you think that's first choice?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
He's managing Kante well. He's not playing him in all the games. He realizes the cup games are important.
Yeah. Kante actually performs best when he had midweeks off. I realized that. That was a common theme between the Leicester season and the Conte season, right? Full week off in the middle.
Yep. Almost. AK is in the chat. Nice to see. Nice to see.
Vaidehi and Chaitanya ask how I'm feeling. I'm feeling great now, guys. Thanks for asking.
And Nihal is asking if what do we think of getting Lingard in for a hit? Depends on who you're selling.
Yeah. And guys, let's keep the questions and all for the end. We're going to try to keep like the chat moving along, because we want to keep it like clean for the audio listeners as well. So we will do a Q&A at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be a standard pod, not like last week's Q&A stream. This is going to be a standard pod, what we do every week. This time we're attempting to do it live. And then there's going to be a Q&A, little bit of a Q&A section right at the end.
Yep. Cool. At 6:30, should we look to kick off?
Yeah, go for it.
Let me start. I'll hit record on that. Cool. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the 29th episode of the FPL Wire, powered by DreamSetGo. We are recording ahead of Gameweek 32. I'm your host, Zophar. Big Man couldn't be with us today. Like most things in Pakistan and India, his computer has been corrupted. But I am joined by my usual co-host, Lateriser. How's it going, buddy?
The computer corruption, did you believe it? I don't believe it for a second. I'm sure he's out there somewhere meeting somebody. We've been bigging him up for the past few months, if not weeks. And I think it's borne fruit now. He's been pretty busy as well in the past few weeks. So yeah, I think he's corrupting a few other people instead of his computer being corrupted right now. What do you think? Do you believe it?
Yes and no. He's a busy man in demand. But if Lingard had embraced, maybe you would have seen Bakar on.
All right. Talking about my game week, absolute shit show. I'm not a good FPL manager. I feel a little awkward sitting here and doing a podcast, but I just want to say that the moves that I make for my own team, they're going to be a little different from the advice that I give, I'm going to try giving good advice. I'm going to try saying good things, quote some good stats. But the moves I'm going to make are going to be completely in a different direction. I'm ranked at 1.1 odd million right now, and pretty much raised the white flag this season. So just going to have some fun with players alike. I got an Aguero this week. Put the armband on him. I sold Kai Havertz. So yeah, you know how painful it was. It could have been nice because I had Areola and Tete as my sub coming in for Aguero, and Fulham conceded to an absolute beautiful goal from Traore. He decided to do that this game. I was actually heartbroken more for Fulham after that goal rather than my own FPL team. It's looking a little tough for Parker right now. You think they're going to scrape and manage? No,
I don't think too far. Especially now, ASM and Wilson are back, right? And Newcastle actually looked good, and they're posting good numbers, as we'll get on to later. So that was a game Fulham really needed to win.
Yep. So I did have Salah as my vice captain, so he got in 14 points. I had Inacho, who got in 13. Son got a goal. Absolutely hate the sight of him in my team. Was fuming. The game against Spurs was probably the most fun I've had watching football this week. It was great. Absolutely wanted us to win that game because I was disgusted by what Son did. I mean, staying on the floor for 3 minutes McTominay was just running in his natural way. I mean, even Genius, who's so biased on match of the day when it comes to Spurs, even he was like, if that's a foul and if you're taking away that goal, the game's gone. I mean, I feel very, very strongly about that. Happy we won after and pretty pumped for United season. How about you? Squeaky bump time inside the top 10K. How did the week go?
Just managed to stay inside there. Ben White was the unlikely savior on Monday night with DCL coming out. He was my highest scorer, and he got his highest score of the season so far, 9 points. So he
Nice.
just kept me in. It's a small red arrow, I think from 6.5 to 8.9K. The template has shifted very quickly this week with the wild card, and the three players I needed to sort of stay quiet this week, Iheanacho, Lingard and TA, they all went berserk. So it's
the good week for the wildcarders.
It's quite a high variance week also, right? A lot of the outcomes that have happened, if you asked me before, I wouldn't have guessed West Ham Leicester 3-2 or something like that. A lot of the reason, we all held off on that a little bit. We look at that fixture, it looks like a bit of a cagey affair, but neither team could defend. And in general, I thought the football this weekend was quite engaging, right? I think the international break has helped the players maybe some time away. Now they've come back. Generally, the entire football felt a lot quicker, a lot more vibrant, a lot better quality, more so than anything. So I was happy.
Completely agree. Only 5 clean sheets this weekend. 15
something like that the weekend before as well.
Yep. Good to watch. I enjoyed watching. I mean, it's been a bore fest for the past couple of months, but the last 2 weeks of football have been thoroughly enjoyable. Liking them.
Absolutely. Right. Let's just do our sponsor placements. Right. Quick word about our sponsors. DreamSetGo is a global portal for fans to gain access to sporting events around the world. Accommodation, flight tickets, hospitality, stadium visits, everything can be tailored exactly to your requirements. They also do celebrity experiences, which include masterclasses with your favorite sports celebrity or something as simple as birthday shoutouts. You can find links to the products in the description below. The FPL Wire is a part of the Fantasy Scout Network, and all stats used in this podcast are taken from the FFS members area. Please sign up if you haven't already.
Zoph, are you playing that on record? I think this is our 30th episode, and it sounds exactly like that every single time.
I should have it memorized by now, but I really don't.
Also, just want to say thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring today's stream of the FPL Wire. It's a football app that's available on both Android and iOS, and it's completely free to download. Click on the link description below. You can follow news about your favorite football teams as well as general news about the top 5 leagues. It also has a bunch of stats about every game, including those relevant to us as fantasy managers, such as shots in the box, shots on target, and loads of others. They even got some short video clips where you can check out some of the best goals and even managers and player interview snippets. Download now. The link's in the description, guys. Also, in case you guys don't already know, we've started a league as well. You can see the code of the league. The league code is DOC0YG. It's worth playing for because the highest scorer every week gets a shout out from a DreamSetGo celebrity. Shout out to Chirag Puri, who was our highest scorer this week, and he gets a DreamSetGo shout out from Scotty Cyrus. Well done. And I was actually happy because he got an Aguero. He had Aguero captain and he had Lingard vice. So yeah, I mean, Aguero performed. I think he's probably a listener of the pod because he's got Aguero captain as well. So yeah, he's doing it right, and Aguero always performs. I'm happy for him. You have lots to play for next week as well. Next week's winner gets a shout out from Stuart Binney, who's played for the Indian cricket team in all 3 formats of the game. He also has played for Rajasthan Royals and RCB in the IPL. The week after that, we'll have a shout out from sports presenter Jatin Sapro. Now, taking you guys through the agenda for today, we're going to be starting with Bakar's stats. He's managed to send us a couple of really interesting stats. After that, we'll be looking at the game week that just went away, the game week review. After that, we'll be looking at some of the fixture swing teams, Liverpool, Wolves, Leicester, and West Ham, and talk about the teams, talk about the players from those teams. We're going to be talking about a few differentials for the run-in. We're going to be talking about the teams to target. Who are the teams on the beach, the teams to target. After that, standard fare, we'll have our captains, our own teams, and the Q&A.
Right.
Also, just to let you guys know, in case you didn't already know, we've started a Patreon as well. We put in a lot of time and effort into this, and you can help us and the channel grow by supporting us at www.patreon.com/the FPL Wire. It's basically like buying one of us a beer every month. Shout out to our newest patrons. In the Omar tier, we have Karan, and in the Jimmy tier, we have Jasikaran Singh, Terence O'Donnell, Martin Clancy, Archit Budraja, and Jim Wine Wilson. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate the support. So yeah, I think the housekeeping is done. We can start with Bakar's
Yep,
stats.
let's start.
All right. First up, Bakar has sent us a stat where he talks about Iheanacho and Vardy. And these are the stats that he's given us since game week 26. Iheanacho has 21 shots compared to Vardy's 9. Iheanacho has 14 shots in the box compared to Vardy's 6. He's got 7 big chances compared to Vardy's 3. His XG is 3.3 compared to Vardy's 1.3. All 3 of Vardy's big chances came against Sheffield United, while Iheanacho is Leicester's chief goal threat at the moment, consistently hogging their big chances at the moment. You did an interesting article talking about Iheanacho and Lingard and form this week, Zoph. Anything that you want to add for our listeners?
I think we've been going about it for a while for the last few weeks, right? Lingard is in such a period of form. I think a lot of us, including myself, we decided to wait on him one more week just to see what impact Antonio and Rice would have, or the lack of either would have on them. But just the way he shot, when that shot from outside the box, as soon as he took it, just something in me told me that it was going right in the corner of the net. But that being said, I thought the Leicester defending was ludicrous, especially for the Bowen goal to play such a high line. It's played into West Ham's hands.
And very unlike Leicester. I mean, they just defensively, they've been all right. Even underlying numbers in the last 4 matches, they're amongst the top 5 defenses in the league for shots in the box conceded as well. So yeah, what is this overperformance that we see when it comes to a red hot player bang in form? How do you know when the right time to jump on a bandwagon like this is of?
So I don't. It's really hard to say and hard to quantify it into a straight away like a metric. This is the metric you look at. But what I sort of look at it I try to look at body language, and this is something I noticed. I think with Salah. Remember the right after the Champions League when he had the shoulder injury. We didn't really know about it, but in the first few games you could tell he wasn't on it in the same way. But with Lingard, you can tell he wants to get on the pitch, and like what I mentioned in my article, that form is a state of mind. Now, some people say that form doesn't exist, but I totally dispute that theory. Now, take Havertz, for example. You see, look at him, how his first few matches in the first 10, 12 games, what he played for Chelsea. Look at him against Palace. You can't tell me now the next game he's going to play better, play with a bit more swagger. I mean, that touch he took, where he looped that ball over the defender. No way he was even going to think about doing that around 10 games ago. So confidence
What a great
plays
touch that was, by the way. So
confidence
good to
plays
it.
such a level, such a big role in sport. And after a certain level, obviously, there is a difference between championship player and a Premier League player, but after a certain level, it's really just a mental edge that makes you better than the other guy.
And this is not us talking. I mean, the old school fantasy managers will say that, fixtures breed form. We get that fixtures breed form, but we are talking about the overperformance in terms of delta XG, in terms of why Lingard has an XG of 3.5 and he's getting 8 goals. Why does that happen? Why does the red hot patch happen? And just a question that comes to me, how do you decide when to get off that player? Body language? You think that's the best indicator?
I think it's a bit difficult with players from mid-table teams, right? The top teams you usually just stick with them with the tough fixture, but the mid-table teams you have to take a gamble. Like we sort of did it early in the season with Son and Kane to a certain extent, right? Even though they were playing well, you could see the confidence was there. Once the fixtures turned a little bit, you have to gamble. So I guess it's a fixture thing.
All right, cool. And Vardy tempting you at all? I know you and you're probably. I think you've already moved in and gotten Iheanacho. Yeah. Is Vardy tempting you at all?
Not in the least. I don't think he's anywhere near that worth that price tag.
Even despite the 3 home fixtures in the next 4 games.
No, in fact, I would say Vardy is actually better away from home.
All right, so you don't think he's a good one, because I have Aguero sitting there in my team, and Vardy was my planned transfer, as you already know. But yeah, I am thinking twice about it. I mean, he's stretching the play. He's
that's the role he's
doing. The role of a provider. He's had the most big chances in the league in the last 4 matches as well. So
big chances created or big chances?
Big chances created. Big chances created.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
all right. Move on to the next stat.
Right. This is a much longer one. So I'm just going to recite here what Bakar sent. So these are his words. So when I'm using I over here, this refers to Bakar's opinion on it. He says, I think FPL managers with the triple captainship should keep it simple. Everton and particularly Southampton are 2 very obliging defenses at the moment. So overlooking an informed Son and Kane has to classify as overthinking, in my opinion. After Southampton's loss to West Brom, they are ranked 19th for big chances conceded and 18th for XG conceded away from home this season. Play the chip and hope for the best. That leads to the question, which one of Son or Kane to captain? To answer this question statistically, I will need more clarification on whether Bale is starting or not, as Son's stats in particular are extremely different in terms of goal threat, with and without Bale in the side. I was scouring through the Spurs forums and the significant majority of fans expect Bale to miss out again, so I based my analysis on the assumption that Bale will miss out. I present to you a comparison based on the 6 games Son and Kane have started together without Bale. Son v Kane, minutes per shots in the box, 44 versus 41. Minutes per big chance, 76 versus 135. Minutes per XGI, 169 versus 207. While Kane is likely to be the outright favourite for captaincy this game week as he is going for the golden boot and is on penalties, the numbers say that it's closer than you might think it is. I still think Kane is a slightly better option despite the extra point the Son gets per goal or clean sheet. But if you are chasing a mini league rival who's likely to captain Kane, then there's not much in it, so rolling the dice might be worth it.
What do you reckon, Zoph? Do you think rolling the dice is worth it?
I think it depends, right, to a certain extent. I do remember the last Spurs double, Son outscored Kane, right? I think he got 14, Kane got 8 or something like that. So
yeah, that's when Son had some charge in the batteries left. I think he's done in terms of the amount of energy he has left, and he's played an insane number of minutes this season. And for me, he just isn't sprinting as much as he used to. At the moment, Kane is by far the better option. Yeah, Son can do better, but I'm not convinced at the moment. I think if you're triple captaining, Kane is the guy and everything else is overthinking right now. Even if you're chasing, I think betting against Kane when it comes to Southampton and Everton, I wouldn't do it.
Right. So first of all, I'm very skeptical about Bale playing. He might get some minutes in the second game purely because it's ahead of the cup fixture. But I don't think
Carabao Cup final, yeah.
So you might see Bale get some minutes or maybe minutes off the bench in both. I don't really know. So I think you can disregard the threat of Bale over there. But let's talk about the nature of the defenses. Are these park the bus defenses, Southampton and Everton?
Yeah, Southampton isn't a park the bus defense. Southampton is a highlight defense. But I think Southampton will be very, very wary of what
last time
Spurs did last time around to them. So I think I don't see Son running behind. I don't see Southampton being naive and having a very high defense at the moment. I think
Did you watch yesterday's game? I didn't catch the Southampton game. I was watching the cricket.
No, I didn't watch it. I saw the highlights though, and West Brom did pretty well. They had their chances, but I think they will be a lot more up for this particular game, in my opinion, because of what. Yeah, it's a revenge game. I remember last season as well, Leicester did something similar to Southampton as well. And then Southampton put in one of the better performances of the season against Leicester in the reverse fixture as well. These things managers and players don't forget.
Correct. But I think that is when Southampton was sort of in the resurgence, right? They've dipped a lot. I think yesterday against West Brom, I think they conceded about 2.5 or 3 XG, something like that. So I think Southampton are a little bit of a downward trajectory. The season is sort of petered out. Now they don't have much to play for. So I don't think there will be much of a stern test.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a stern test, but I don't expect them to play a high line. I think managers adapt to the game.
Probably not. But the problem with Spurs again is, right, how many goals do you expect them to score? They're going to score 2 and then not cross the halfway line, as James says from Planet FPL.
Are you at all tempted to go with Son, even if chasing? In this case, I don't think it's a good bet.
No, ultimately, let's look at it in isolation, whether chasing or not chasing. I think Kane right now is in the form of his life. He's shooting on sight. He's creating. He's on penalties. I think he has more routes to points right now than Son.
Exactly. And even the eye test when you're watching. I mean, I think the United game was a little bit of an anomaly because Son had more chances compared to Kane. But in general, if you're looking at the past 2 games and looking at the data, Kane's been the one shooting on side. Son's been pretty isolated on the wings. He's not posting good numbers. He's not posting good underlyings. Kane's got the highest number of goal attempts in the league in the last 4 matches, and he's going for the golden boot. I'm all for chasing, but I just don't think this one is the right week.
No, and especially the nature of the defense, right? I think why Son scored again because he was afforded the space. We've noticed against these big sides, Son is usually better. But I had to look at Everton also a little bit against Brighton yesterday. Very, very defensive. So I think
pragmatic, bro. They had four CBs on the pitch. Yeah. Holgate was playing in midfield, if I'm not mistaken. They've got Allen and A couple of the midfielders are out at the moment. So, yeah.
I don't even know.
Thomas Morris from the chat, he's a Saints fan. He says they were abysmal. It was the worst
Right.
performance of the season that they had against West Brom.
Right, even Lucy was criticizing Ralph quite a bit on Twitter for not managing the game better, which is rare. She's quite a diehard advocate of Ralph, so I do think it's a good fixture. But do you think about bringing in a defender? I know a lot of people are thinking about Reguilon, but I'm not confident in the Spurs defense at all.
Yeah, I'm not confident in the Spurs defense. In fact, their underlying numbers are very, very poor.
Yeah,
in the
we'll
last,
get to that. It's very.
I think they're in the bottom 5 when it comes, bottom 5-7 when it comes to shots in the box conceded or big chances conceded in the last 4 or 6 matches as well. So not showing good numbers. I've owned Reguilon for the past few weeks. Not a happy owner at the moment.
He doesn't seem to me like a Jose player. Also, I don't think it's a loan deal, right? Or is it a permanent signing? What's the deal with Reguilon?
Loan deal, I think.
I think so, with the option to make it permanent or something like that. I'm not sure.
Anyway, that's why United were in for Reguilon actually, and we backed
Chelsea
out because
also.
of this. Yeah, because of this, we didn't want to be at the disposal of Madrid when it comes to a signing.
Right. Should we move on to the review?
No, just so putting you on the spot here. Even if chasing, do you think it's worthwhile going for a Son captaincy over a Kane?
I mean, it depends a lot on your mini leagues. If you really want to take a chance to win your mini leagues or something, it's not outside the realms of possibility. You can't say it's not going to happen, but I think it's unlikely to happen.
All right. And if you had a triple captaincy chip,
Kane,
put it
absolutely.
on Kane this week. Wait for something in the future.
I think you got to look like, what is there in front of you. Kane is in form. Kane's going to start both the games. The problem with 35, 36 is you might like only the fixtures for Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool. You never know whether... Okay, I'm being a bit generous saying Liverpool will probably get through, but the possibility still exists.
Yeah, I agree. I have the triple captaincy chip. And the only reason I might not put it on Kane is because I have nothing to play for in the season and I want to try getting 300% effective ownership sort of a equation compared to just gaining 100% over the rest of the crowd and do something fun. But absolutely, if you have the triple captaincy chip, if you're serious about the season at the moment, if you're not looking to play for fun, you put it on Kane this week and hope for the best.
Scoring points is fun, right? As long as you get points, you have fun either way. So.
Exactly. I think that's relative, right? Like, because I don't have overall rank to play for at the moment, right? So I just want to get interested in some other games where something else is happening. That's my agenda for the rest of the season.
What's interesting is you have the free hit available also, right? So you have both. So you obviously can't use the triple captain in the later double. You're likely going to use the free hit then. So you are going to go for triple captain this week, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, those that have a triple captain and a free hit pending, I'm guessing that they're going to, if there is a double in 36 and if there's a blank in 37 or vice versa, they're going to be using the free hit in probably the blank week and the triple captaincy in the other cheek. Either way, I mean, let's not drag
it's
something
hard to speculate.
If you have Kane, put the triple captaincy chip on him this week without thinking.
Right.
All right, moving forward. All right, let's talk about the games that went. Fulham Wolves. Feel bad for Fulham at the moment because, I mean, they got done by, but Wolves played pretty decently. That said, they have some injury problems now. Neto got injured as well. Podence is out for the season. Johnny is also injured. So I think they reverted back to 3 at the back midway through the game, which is why they got a little more control in that game. So I know Wolves have some good fixtures, but I wouldn't be looking at anyone in attack. It's not convincing. And if you're picking between Cody, Saiss, Semedo, I like the thought of Saiss. He took that free kick as well, so it's just more fun.
Yeah, people are a little bit bigger on Cody because of late, but Saiss has pedigree from set pieces. He's a beast.
All right. Anything to add in that Fulham?
Nothing much. I feared for Fulham as soon as I saw the Lookman injury. He's pretty much their creative engine. As soon as he got injured, I was worried about Fulham's prospects.
Yeah. It's like a cup final now. Every game for them has. Bakar was so distraught.
So do you think they become a team to target then? Because ultimately now, as soon as they go a goal down, they're going to have to come out a little bit, right?
Yeah, even if they're not going a goal down, I think they need to play for 3 points. 1 point isn't enough. It's like Arsenal's playing Fulham the next game. It's interesting because I was thinking about that, how they might approach the game now. And they will need to be on the front foot rather than being on the back foot now. So
something to watch out there, yeah. Especially because the Arsenal game is, I think, sandwiched between the 2 Europa Leagues guys, right? Right.
Yep.
Let's talk about Man City Leeds. What a game.
What a game. Enjoyed watching that. Leeds have found another gear where they're capable of parking and defending. I was really happy for them in this result. So, yeah. I mean, City did City things as expected. 6-7 starters got rotated. And Leeds did well. I didn't think Leeds did not deserve that win. I mean, they were pretty good on the counter. Outside of the two Dallas chances as well, Rafinha had a couple of chances where he could have put the ball inside the back of the net. And I thought Leeds defended well. I mean, all the shots that City had, they were sort of half-hour shots from outside the box. No clear-cut chances, I thought,
Yep.
for City in that game.
And what was interesting was Leeds were actually quite defensive even before the red card. It wasn't like, we always talk about Leeds go, they don't change their style for anyone, they're gung-ho. They did change their style. I think
Exactly.
they absolutely did. This was not down to the red card. Even before the red card, they were set up with two deep blanks looking to play on the counter attack. And this is something I've noticed with City. If you score the first goal against them, you have a chance.
Yep. I don't think they've won a single game having conceded the first goal this season in the league, if I'm not mistaken. I've read a stat like that somewhere.
They panic, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's like it's quite exactly the opposite of Man United. You guys need to concede a goal to win the match.
Yep. You think Leeds are going to give the same respect to Liverpool next game? Again, that's something to look out for this game week. Very interesting.
There's a whole dynamic with Bielsa and Guardiola, right? There's so much respect that he had for Guardiola. I don't think he has as much for Klopp. So I don't know if he'll treat it with that much respect. But having seen this work, having seen this blueprint work, I think he might be tempted to give it another go.
Yeah, and just for the owners of Rafinha and Bamford, something that I noticed is Leeds' underlying numbers for the first time this season, last 4 matches, in the bottom 5. Never seen that when it comes to Leeds' underlying numbers. I think they were in the bottom 5 or bottom 7 for shots in the box, as well as big chances in the last 4 or 6 matches.
Yeah.
It's just something.
Bamford was so pissed when he got substituted. He turned to the bench and said, "What are we going to defend all game?" And they did, and they won.
So he wants those goals really badly, because I was reading an interview that he did also before this game, and he was talking about how Kane has sort of moved in 5-6 goals ahead of him, and he's sort of, that's the kind of standard he's setting for himself. Just something worth pointing out.
He's aiming to beat the very top, right? Let's move on. Liverpool Villa, also a great game.
Wait.
Go back?
Before we move on, because we're not going to be talking about City.
Right.
But what do you do if you're a Gundogan owner? What do you do if you're a Ruben Dias owner at the moment? And would you recommend buying City assets right now?
No, definitely wouldn't recommend buying. But I think what's happened is Guardiola now, this is the first time the points gap has been closed a little bit at the top, with City losing and United winning. So I do think in the next now couple of games, depending on the United results, etc., I think City are going to play stronger lineups than they have.
So you think you hold on to your players right now?
I would say, let's say Diaz. I think you can definitely hold on to. I think Diaz has had his rest now. I think he'll probably play. Cancelo, I think he's going to fall out of favor a bit because he was responsible for the first goal, which they conceded. He didn't mark Costa very well down that side. I think Costa got the ball, he laid it off to Bamford, who fed Dallas. So Cancelo's actually been fault for some big goals, even against United. If you remember, he let Shaw go on that side. So I think Cancelo's going to be in the doghouse for a little bit. Gundogan, I think with his value you can afford, but the problem with Gundogan is, right, he can always come on for a cameo. He's not like KDB. And I was surprised he didn't chuck KDB on for the last 10-15 minutes. KDB was on the pitch warming up the whole time, but he didn't chuck KDB on, even though he had a sub left.
That kind of told me that game state didn't matter to Pep so much. He's primarily focused on the Champions League and the Cup.
Absolutely. That's what you're absolutely right. That's what that told me as well. He's just like, this is gone.
Yep, exactly. But I'd be, if I was a KDB owner, I'd hold him. I think he's going to be fine for the next couple of games. I think he's had his rest now.
That's a good one. I definitely agree with you. I think KDB now, he won't mess around with him. He'll keep him, get some points on the board, close the title. And so that way he can rest players extensively if they progress to the semi-finals.
Yep. Liverpool versus Aston Villa. What do you want to say about that game?
I mean, it was fun. Liverpool actually looked much more of a threat, even though in the last few home matches, Liverpool were a bit blunt. I think this game, they actually offered more of a threat. And I think it was a good idea playing Jota on the left, where Mane plays. Because a lot of times if you play him in the central, he occupies the same spaces that Salah does.
Yeah, I think that was great for Salah. in general because he got a lot more shots off. I think in that game he was top for shots in the box. He was top for big chances as well. So yeah, like you mentioned, it's good for Salah. Salah's back to posting underlying numbers as usual. In the last 4 matches, he's top for shots in the box. So yeah, he's getting them on. If you don't have him already, get him. The next 2 games are Leeds and Newcastle, and they've still got the best run in amongst all teams this season. I think looking beyond Trent, Salah and Jota is not wise for the run-in. I'm actually really, really happy that Trent got that goal as well because I shouted out on the pod last week as well that, when it comes to the good teams who have the good runs, don't go for the value picks. Go for the value picks in the mid-table teams, not for the better teams. So I'm happy that came through.
Right, absolutely. But tell me something. Would you have still wanted TA had he not scored that goal?
Yeah, because his underlyings are great. His underlyings are really, really good. It's been the accumulation of the performances for the last 6 to 8 games. Not that the meeting the results as well. Because in the last 6 matches, he's got 8 points or more on 4 occasions. So that's encouraging.
Right. Yep. Quality was good. I think again, what Salah going in is also helping. I think Salah and Trent are also helping each other, right? The only negative with Trent, right? I would like somebody like if Mane was there on the left wing, because so many crosses are coming in, and they don't have anyone tall to head the ball.
Doesn't matter, Jota. I mean, have you noticed the kind of goals he's been scoring?
Jota's jumping like a trout.
Yeah, jumping like a trout. All the goals he scored in the international break as well. All headers. He's a heading machine right now. Love it. A little bit of a Michael Owen inside him.
Yeah.
Your team, Palace versus Chelsea.
What a game. The first 30 minutes, 3-0 inside 30 minutes. I did not expect that at all. It was so pleasant.
It was so nice to see Pulisic play as well. I think I really, really rate him as a player. Every time he's fit and playing for a couple of games, I tend to get him in because I rate him as an FPL asset as well. I think he was the difference in terms of Chelsea playing so well because him and Kai had a little bit of a nice understanding as well, I thought. And Mount, I keep shouting him every pod. I think I obviously made notes for the next season. I'm chomping at the bit for Gameweek 1 next season. And one of those notes is that Mount is a great glue guy. If Mount is around the 7.5 price bracket, I think he's going to be continuing to trickle points. He's got a lot of route to points. He's a great under the radar pick.
Yeah, you're very close to scoring also, as well as getting the set piecing. It was a good save.
Yeah, good underlying numbers for Mount, Pulisic, and Kai in this game. So yeah, all in all, good things for Chelsea. Chelsea, I mean, in terms of attacking numbers in the last 4 matches, they're top in the league for shots in the box. They're top in the league for big chances. This game, Mount had 2 big chances and 4 shots in the box. And in the last 4, only Vardy's created more big chances. Kai had 3 big chances this game. Pulisic was top for non-penalty XG this game. So yeah, it's looking good from an attacking standpoint. But the question that I need to ask you is, what about rotation, given that you guys are there in the cups?
Now, see, rotation, let's talk about it. Now, one of the biggest things was Alonso being dropped. I did not expect that to a certain extent, because I would expect Chilwell to be preserved, but I think he was worried about the defensive performance that Alonso had against West Brom, and he wanted to get a clean sheet against Palace. And the defense was relatively solid. I think we conceded only 1 shot, which Benteke scored from. So in terms of rotation, I think you have the back 3, which is going to be fairly consistent. You might see Christensen and Thiago Silva drop in and out. The wing backs is going to be a rotation nightmare, I think. You really can't tell. I wouldn't be surprised if Alonso started tonight, for example. Yep. So I would say the wing backs, if you've got Alonso now with a good bench, probably stick with him till like 34, 35, till like the Fulham game, at least. There's no point trying to guess that, because I realized Tuchel is a little bit like Pep. You can't really predict that if player starting X is starting in Europe, player Y is going to start in the league. It's not that simple.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you recommend buying from your attack?
Havertz.
And Mount, if you...
Oh yeah, Mount. See, the thing, I feel bad that I always keep overlooking Mount, right? So, but Mount is always a good pick, but I just don't see double digits. I like to see, something like, I feel Havertz has the double-digit haul in him. Pulisic has that double-digit haul in him. But in terms of a steady trickle of points, Mount is definitely a good pick as well.
All right. But you don't think it's a bad choice to go for the Chelsea attack right now? Good 3 fixtures because why I'm asking you that is because if there's a time to jump on the Chelsea attack, it's right now because they've got 3 good fixtures coming up, and I'm asking you about rotation because they can't afford to drop a point in the league right now. That race for fourth is as hot as it gets at the moment, and West Ham are posing a threat, and Chelsea need to win every single game. So I don't know if you can afford to rotate.
No, we can't, and they're not easy games per se. Look at Brighton, right? Brighton are a well-organized defense. They might not offer much in attack, but like they're not a rollover game as you guys found out at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
And then you have then it's West Ham, which is sort of almost a 6-pointer for that 4th place spot. And then it's Fulham, who are fighting for survival. So these are not easy games per se where they can afford to relax. So I do think he's going to have to play stronger lineups in the league as well.
All right, Jakes John just asked if there's going to be a Q&A session at the end. Yes, there will be a Q&A session at the end. A lot of questions coming in about the Chelsea defense. I mean, I'll take this one on if you don't mind. I mean, their underlying numbers are still best or second best in the league. What happened the last 2 games? I see the West Brom game as an anomaly, and Palace scored from their only shot, so I wouldn't be too worried about the defense at the moment. Do you agree?
Completely.
All right. Moving on. Palace, just worth mentioning, they are one of the few beach teams worth targeting at the moment. Moving on to Burnley versus Newcastle. Why don't you take this one?
I think this was a very attacking game. Again, not what you expect when you see Burnley-Newcastle line up. And it was a game of 2 halves. When ASM came on, he was brilliant. I haven't seen a player have an impact on a game like that in such a while. Completely went both ways, fooled the defense for a shot setup. It was brilliant seeing ASM come on, and I'm actually happy for Newcastle fans. They do deserve some joy, and the numbers are improving. They look good in attack, and you have Callum Wilson coming back. I think they'll stay up.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about the Newcastle numbers, I was looking them up. Newcastle attacking stats, they're in the top 5 to 7 teams for shots in the box, big chances in the last 4 matches. So attacking wise, the numbers do look good.
Definitely, but I still maybe in terms of FPL investment, I still wouldn't go there.
Nope, nobody in defense, nobody in attack. Especially because the guys you want to invest in are Saint Max and Wilson. They don't have the fixtures. A and B. Bruce mentioned that they're not still fully fit, so he's going to be using them as per situations. I don't even expect them to start all the games. I think he's going to use them very shrewdly. At the moment. Just worth mentioning that Burnley are again a team worth targeting. They've got a few Mai Tais down their throat because of the way they've been playing. I mean, I haven't seen a Burnley team play this way for a long time. They're just playing good. I mean, they're playing attacking football, don't care too much about what's happening in defense. Long way to continue, which is why I think if you're planning to jump on a United asset, right now is a good time because Burnley and Leeds are the next 2. And I like that Burnley fixture now. You need to change our perception in terms of how we look at Burnley as a fixture for attackers.
And Vidra, I think, plays a big part in how they play it now. They can actually play balls behind the defense now. Earlier it was just lump it up to Ashley Barnes.
Yep. West Ham versus Leicester, we're going to be talking about both these teams later, so let's save it for later.
Yep.
Yeah. United Spurs, I think we've already covered. We'll be covering them in the differential section as well. Sheffield United, Arsenal, anything to add? I just want to say that Arsenal do have some injury problems now, which is something worth monitoring because Oba was ill. Saka looks like he came off with a knock. ESR isn't fit at the moment. Odegaard isn't fit at the moment. So there's some... Tierney isn't fit. So there's some problems when it comes to Arsenal. But Lacazette, good punt. We're going to be talking about that a little later in the pod. And they're offering decent value in defense as well at the moment.
Not much to add.
West Brom South... Yeah. West Brom Southampton. Pereira, good value pick, doing his bit. If West Brom win their next game or 2, I think things get interesting in the relegation battle because Burnley and Brighton Burnley have been taking it a little bit easy, and I think them and Southampton will look a little bit over their shoulder if West Brom start pulling their weight. 2 impressive results back to back against Chelsea and Southampton.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out to Big Sam, right? We make a lot of fun of him, but he's actually done solid work, you can tell, over the international break. With these players, they do look much more organized, and they're actually presenting a good amount of threat going forward as well. So credit to him over there.
Yeah, and it's matching the underlines as well because defensively they're 7th best for shots conceded in the box in the last 4 games, and top half of the table for big chances conceded as well. So it's not a fluke. The underlines are in support as well.
Right. Brighton, Everton, not much to add. I think I had to look. Brighton had around 20 shots, but I think the average XG of each shot was like
Yeah.
0.11 or something. Classic Brighton low quality chances.
Yeah, it was an all fart no poke kind of game.
Yeah.
Ancelotti was practical and not surprised that ended 0-0.
Yeah, Everton's I think European thing, at least for the Champions League, I think has fizzled out. They probably have to focus on the Europa League now. And
Not fizzle out. I think they got a couple of games in hand, which is why they look a little lower than the
I know,
table.
but it just doesn't seem to me that team that like at the mojo that they had with James early on, and all that stuff. That's completely gone from the team.
Correct. But he's a practical manager, is Carlo.
That's
he
what
knows
we
how to
say.
pull out a 1-0 out of the bag. Now, I mean, not saying that they're good FPL assets, but yeah.
I'll be interested to see what lineup or what setup he goes with versus Spurs. Because I remember the cup fixture versus these teams earlier in the season. I think it was mad. I think it was 4-4 or something like that. Lots of goals. So I'll be interested to see what happens there.
Also, at this point, I just want to say that we've got around 375 odd people in the chat. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. We really appreciate it. Make sure you're hitting the like and subscribe button, because it really helps the algorithm and helps us grow the channel. So please hit that like and subscribe button. Moving on, what do we have next off?
We are talking now firstly about Liverpool and Salah stats.
All right. Go on. Why don't you talk about
Right. So Salah on the last 4 matches is on top for XG non-penalty, and by a margin. You have my boy Havertz at 1.78 and Pulisic in third, Lingard in fourth. So Salah's numbers are getting back up there. In terms of expected goal involvement, he's on top. So really, if you don't have Salah right now, you're playing a dangerous game.
Yep. It's interesting to see that. Where's Jota on that table? Nowhere to be seen at the moment.
No, but the thing is that did he even start the last 4 matches? I think he started the last 3, right?
Yeah, and these are last 4 matches.
So it includes his Jota's last match as well. So yeah, it's nowhere near that level.
Yeah, but sub appearances, right? Are they included?
Yeah, sub appearances are included, absolutely.
Yeah. I think we spoke about Liverpool fairly well. We're both pretty big on Salah. After this week, he's going to be a captaincy option in more than a few game weeks as well. So you need to get him right now. And Jota as well. Anything to add when it comes to Liverpool?
There's a school of thought that people have suggested that you don't really need Salah because you can captain Kane and there are a few other options. Do you subscribe to that?
Nope. Need to get Salah.
Totally.
Look at the fixtures. Look at those fixtures. I mean, they scream goals to me. I really like them from an attacking point of view. Leeds away, Newcastle at home, Southampton at home, West Brom away. I mean, those fixtures are great for attackers. You need to get Salah. Also, I mean, if you look at the pitch map, he was by far furthest up the pitch in that game as well. He's getting a lot more touches in the box. Jota is not messing, like you mentioned earlier in the pod as well, in terms of them clashing and him hogging Salah's chances. So yeah, need to get Salah. Do it this week.
And what it tells me, like the app I use, SofaScore, it has the average heat map and average position. You can have a look at his average position for the Villa game versus what he had for the previous games against Sheffield United and Southampton, and it's much more central. It's not hogging the touchline like he was previously.
Yep. I still prioritize, if you've got Kane and Son in place, I think Liverpool is the team where you prioritize your transfers at the moment.
Right. I've also got Trent stats up here for the last 4 matches. He's on top for chances created and big chances created. So like you're talking about, his numbers are back to being the best in the league.
Correct. Vardy's created more big chances than him in the last 4 matches amongst all outfielders, not talking just defenders. So yeah, those numbers look really encouraging right now.
7.4. I just hope this keep getting clean sheets because the defense did look a bit exposed. The defense did not look that stable last match.
Yeah, I know, but like we mentioned, we don't have that many big hitters for the taking right now. So I don't think cash is going to be too much of an issue at the moment. So I think you go for it.
Yeah, because
well, interesting was I read a stat. I mean, even Phillips, he created 3 chances.
Yeah. But I saw the game very closely. I was monitoring Phillips because he was on my radar. Those chances were just like the straightforward passes where the midfielder goes forward and takes a shot, which is a block. They were never like any chances you legally expect. But it's worth mentioning that he was pretty much the target for every corner or every aerial ball that went into there because there's no Van Dijk, right? And Kabak really isn't as much of an aerial threat. So he might nick a goal from a set piece still. But I do think for 4.1, and he's very good value. And the bonus, I think he was very close to getting top bonus until the Trent goal went in also.
Interesting.
Something to monitor over there. Let's talk about Wolves.
Anybody in attack interesting you?
And Wolves, like you mentioned, Podence is out for the season. I didn't read that. Is he out? I remember he played the last game, didn't
Yeah,
he?
confirmed. Yeah, he played the last game and he's confirmed out for the season now.
Oh, I know. I read about
Huge
Neto.
loss of-
I read about Neto being out
Yeah.
for the season. I didn't realize Podence was out as well.
No, Neto. I think is a smaller injury. Podence is out for 6 months, so I think he's going to
I
miss a
think you've
fair
got
chunk of the next
I
season.
think you've got the two mixed up. Because I read that
No,
Neto is out
pretty
for
confident.
the Euros.
No, I'm sure about this.
Cool.
Bit of news.
Cool. Either way, I don't think either. And the striker's position right now is really like that. We had the new guy, William Jose or Fabio Silva. There's really nobody you can go for over there.
I mean, if at all you fancy a defender, you go for Cody or Size. But even then, I'm not convinced about the Wolves defense. Just something about them this season.
It's off.
It
But
doesn't-
I think now what's going to happen is Bolly is going to come back, and I think he's going to probably go to a back three again. The numbers have improved a little bit over the last 4 matches. So in terms of minutes per expected goal conceded, I think they're ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 6th over the last 4 matches. So there is, I think, scope for defensive returns over there.
Got it.
Like,
Got
would
it.
you
It is
back
the
them?
other way around. People in the chat are mentioning it's Neto out for the season.
That's what I thought
Sorry
it was.
about that, guys.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought it was.
yeah.
So like, so I do think Wolves, there is some potential over there. Like, I still don't know if you're given a choice between a Wolves defender or an Arsenal defender, who do you pick?
I'd go with an Arsenal defender.
You think so? They've
I
got
just
like
rate
one
that
clean
team.
sheet in the last, I think, 8 or 9 matches, right?
I just rate that team more. I can't judge Wolves this season, so I stay away from them because I can't figure them out. Because what's happening is you don't know if they're going to be playing 4 at the back or 3 at the back. Every game they're changing the formation. If I know that they're going to be doing their thing where they're going to be defensive, going to be playing 3 at the back every game and stick to last season's template, then yeah, fair enough. But
I see your
we
point.
don't know that at the
I see your
moment,
point, but I do think they'll go to a back three.
especially if they've lost Neto now.
Especially since they've lost Neto. He was the one who used to pretty much do the entire ball progression, right?
Fair enough.
So, but
Who, if you had to pick between Cody and Size?
Size for me. Remember, I championed him right from Gameweek 1. Size is my boy.
All right. Moving on from Wolves.
Wolves, now we have Leicester and the star man Ian Nacho.
Incredible numbers. If you don't have him, get him in right now. He's at the start of his amazing run of fixtures. I mean, just reading out the fixtures for our listeners as well. In the next 4 game weeks, they have West Brom at home, Crystal Palace at home, Southampton away, and Newcastle at home. I don't think you can ask for a better run. It's as good as it gets. He's accumulated the second highest number of big chances amongst attackers, second only to Calvert-Lewin in the last 4 matches. So yeah, you have to go for him.
Yep.
He's a gift at 5.9 that you're denying.
Yeah, and he's on top for like XG non-penalty and all that good shit also.
Yeah. I'm actually disagreeing with you on Vardy. I think he's still a good punt for the next 4 given the fixtures. Even if he's expensive, I don't think it's a bad shout for the next 4 games.
I mean, it all depends of like your squad structure and who else, right? I mean, if you're getting Vardy, that means you're likely going without one of Salah, TA, or somebody like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, TA versus Vardy is a decent shot. I just think there's enough upside there for the taking. I still think Maddison is a good pick. I think Brendan Rodgers,
He'll get
to
him
this
back.
point,
He'll get him back in.
yeah, he'll get him back. The lesson that was needed to prove to the players, he's already proved them. And Leicester can't afford to drop any points as well, given that they're in the race for 4th. So yeah,
Yep.
I still think Maddison is a good pick. I think he's going to be playing in place of Dennis Pratt in that 10. And
They missed
I
him.
like...
They definitely missed him. And the thing is now Maddison has to prove to Southgate that he's still serious about his prospects for the Euros as well. Because Southgate's not going to look very favorably upon what just happened.
Exactly. Just talking about their defense a little, their underlying numbers have been pretty good. They're amongst the best 5 defenses for shots in the box conceded in the last 4. And I thought Pereira looked really, really good the last game. He was in and around the 6-yard box more than a couple of times. He had 11 penalty area touches in that game. So I think he's a good punt for this 4-week period. I don't think I think they've learned the lesson, and I rate Leicester's defenders. I rate the players. NED is fit as well, so I don't think they're going to show lapses of concentration like they did in the game against West Ham. So I think it's a good punt. Is Ricardo Pereira?
They need Soyuncu back. Amate was a
Yep.
liability. And I think in general, right, the entire rhythm must have been disrupted because of the whole fiasco with Madison et al. I think that affected them a little
Correct.
bit last game as well, the entire mental makeup of the team.
Correct. And again, they have a cup final over the weekend as well, but it's not something I'd be worried about because every game is like a cup final for them in the league as well, given
Right.
Champions League
And they have this
qualification. So
midweek off. But like, I wouldn't worry about Ian Nacho, but I would actually worry about Vardy there. If you remember this game, also in the previous game, he's always hobbling at the end of these matches. Like, that's another thing that worries me with Vardy. When their games, the midweek, the games in close succession, I always worry, is Vardy going to be fit?
fair enough. I still think it's a good point. I think the fixtures are there, and I do those articles, right, where we talk about Vardy's performance against absolute bottom tier defenses, and he's as big a flat tack pulley as they come. He's really good against these poor teams. They're the kind of games
It's
which
just a
suit.
tactical thing which I'm seeing with Vardy. He's not making the run down the center channel anymore. That run of the
Yeah,
shoulder.
he's making the runs wide, and Iheanacho is center. But I think with Madison
that
playing,
could
I think
change.
that might change.
It might change a little bit.
Yep. Would you invest in Fofana? Let's say, I mean, that's a shout between a Fofana and a Wolves defender. Which one would you pick?
The thing is with Leicester defense, I haven't really had faith in them almost all season, and it bit me, even with Justin. So I personally don't rate the Leicester defense for some reason. It's like Spurs. I always feel they're liable to conceding that odd goal. And I don't think Fofana has much aerial threat about him, does he?
Nope, not much.
Not much. So purely for that reason, I would prefer like a Cody or a Size.
All right, fair enough. Moving on, who do we have next?
Big man's favorite player.
He mentioned in the chat he was still at the computer fixing place or whatever.
Computer fixing
Believe that
place.
was-
Nobody
Yep.
believes it.
What do you think about Lingard though? Buy him, don't overthink it.
Buy him, don't overthink it. He's almost fixture proof, but the fixtures are good. And it's not like he's a 10 million, 11 million player, right? He's an enabler. He's still very much cheap for what he offers. And he might not be scoring these braces every game, but I think he's going to be taking a lot more set pieces now that Cresswell is out. So he has that now in his locker as well. And his link up with Bowen was pretty good. I was happy with what I saw. I think Bowen is capable of leading the line.
Correct. I agree. And his underlying numbers are really good as well. So there's no reason to not bring Lingard right now. I mean, I was skeptical about him until this game, but I read your form article as well, and I think sometimes you just need to do the obvious thing and get him.
Right. And so that's the thing with his stats. Bakar is on about how he's overperforming his XG. Now you look at this table over here, he's on top for shots on target since he's
Amongst all
midfielders since he's joined West Ham. So I think this is, as I mentioned in the article, this is a limitation in the XG model. It assumes that the players have equal finishing skills at various points in the life cycle. A player could have better finishing skill today than he does 6 months ago. You saw it with Torres. It just happens. Sometimes certain things go off, sometimes certain things go on. So the XG model has its inherent limitations, and that's why I feel it should be looked at it not necessarily holistically. You have to dig in a little bit deeper.
Correct. And I read a tweet I read a tweet the other day which made full sense. Yes, Lingard is overperforming. Yes, he'll revert to mean a little, but he's still offering more than enough value for his price. So yeah, that's all that matters. Even if he's performing, so numbers will come down, but he's still going to offer the value for his price, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
I do think they'll struggle because if you think about the goals that Wolves and Leicester conceded, they just said come score.
Yep.
I mean the defense was
very
that
shabby.
poor,
very shabby,
very poor defense. So I think it won't be as easy in the future. And I want to see how Lingard does against Newcastle as well, because when he was at United, Lingard's great on the counter attack and it's perfect for West Ham. But against Newcastle, I'm expecting West Ham to have the higher share of possession. And I want to know what transpires then.
I don't even know if they'll have the higher share of possession. I think Newcastle, after the win and stuff, they might actually have a go at West Ham. So I think he could get opportunities on the counter. And they were very obliging, Newcastle against Burnley. The goal that Vidra scored, terrible defending. They left Wood completely open on the right side to cross the ball in. So I think he'll get...
Wood has never looked so good as a winger. I mean, they just made him look that good, I thought.
I feel bad talking about Wood without Bakar here.
Yeah, feels terrible. But he's getting his hard drive fixed at the moment. So, anyway, moving on. I mean, just wanted to add though, they will struggle a little. I mean, I think they're possibly losing 3 of their best players this season: Antonio,
They
Rice,
can't
and
afford
now
to lose
Cresswell.
anymore. And apparently
Yeah.
Noble has some injury. Now they're getting slowly down to the bare bones.
Yep. So interesting to see what happens. But Lingard, don't overthink it.
Yeah, if he doesn't, there's so many other options you can move him on later. And the thing is, the fixtures after Chelsea are good, right? I think it's Burnley and who else? Let's have a look at the ticker. I've got the ticker up here.
Burnley, Everton, Brighton, West Brom, Southampton. Good end to the season.
Yeah.
And also, what's happened now is they've got their own Champions League campaign in their own hands. So if they manage to win all of the remaining games, they qualify for Europe, and which is why they're going to give it their all in all these games. The motivation is also sky high.
Motivation is sky high. And I think the key here is keeping the check pair. I think Zophar, since they've switched to this wing-back system, has been great. He's been getting forward a lot. He's racked up 2 assists. He looks good value there. But the problem is they're just not keeping clean sheets. We talked about the defensive numbers. I think they're 19th for shots in the box conceded, right? Last 4.
Yep. Then underlying numbers are just poor. Don't look at their defense right now. Forget it, is all I'll say.
Right. Let's talk about the differentials.
All right. So who do you have? Who do you like for the run in differentials? I mean, Lacazette is right up there,
Yep, Lacazette
considering
is
the
up
form.
there. Definitely.
The only thing that I want to mention when it comes to Lacazette is I don't think the league results matter as much for Arsenal now. I think Lacazette is their first choice striker now, and both their Europa League games are before Gameweek 34 and 35, which are the crucial games for Arsenal, which are the easier games for Arsenal from an FPL point of view. They're playing Newcastle in 34 and West Brom in 35. Now these are the games you want to target. And I'm a little worried about rotation, given the injuries that Arsenal have, and given that I think they're definitely going to prioritize the Europa League now. So that's just the point that I wanted to mention.
You're absolutely right over there. So Lacazette is one I like holding. I think in terms of defense, I was surprised when I saw that he got 2 bonus even with 3 goals being scored. He's somebody I have an eye on.
Martinelli got an appearance. What do you think about that?
I think Martinelli is a player I really like. I think he needs to get more minutes now going forward. I don't even know what's his price like. Is he a midfielder, forward?
I think he was
I know last year he was like a budget forward, something like.
He's a 4.9 million midfielder. That's value. If he starts the next game, it's you look at him. Then I think it's too early right now. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then I think
Nima just mentioned in the chat that he's expecting Arsenal to be knocked out before that, so he wouldn't worry too much about the 34 and 35 fixtures.
What's the score? I think it's Slavia Prague. They're 1-1, right?
I don't know.
I think so. I'm pretty sure it was 1. I know they didn't win it. I think it's 1-1. I think, but yeah, Slavia.
No, I think the second tie is done. I think.
No. They've played one leg 1-1. I think now the other leg is before the Fulham game.
Okay.
That is like on this the day after on Thursday.
Yep. Yeah, 1-1 in the first game, second leg pending on Thursday. You're right.
So yeah, but if they get knocked out, then they definitely can't qualify for the Champions League, but they can still qualify for the Europa League via league positions. So that actually might be like, if you see Arsenal get knocked out of the Europa League, I think you can pile on.
Yep. Worth monitoring then midweek, because if Arsenal go out, then you jump in on those players.
Let's talk about Mason Greenwood.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking him up for the past 4 weeks. I think he's coming into his own. Absolutely love that Cavani is around him and he's learning from the best. His
movement.
My top differential pick for the run-in. I think the potential in terms of what he can do is great. It's great. My top punt for the runner is Mason Greenwood.
I think both of them, right? Greenwood and Cavani. I think Cavani is so unique in terms of his movement was so intelligent. Just watching him during that Spurs game, the way he moves, he goes back, drifts in those spaces, asks for the pass. It's beautiful. Like he's definitely, I think, the best centre forward in the league, bar Aguero.
I mean, that's a shout and a half considering we have Kane playing. But
Kane is a different kind of guy, right? Kane, I don't see him making the lines the same way. The intelligence that the Cavani shows while making those runs, like knowing when to pause. Kane has a very different skill set, but a pure out and out striker. I think Cavani is like a level above.
Yep. Both good punts for the run. And if you're jumping on United assets, now is a good time because Burnley and Leeds in the next 2. So,
absolutely,
like both as punts.
Do you think you guys might prioritize
Chelsea attack?
So just dialing back to United, I noticed you guys played a very strong lineup in the first leg of the Europa League against Granada. You had Shaw, etc. playing. I know he's suspended for the second leg, but how much of a priority do you think the Europa League is for you guys?
I think he's going to not rotate. I think he's going to play the starting players in both the league games as well as the Europa League.
Just flog them. Just flog them.
I wouldn't worry about rotation because I did mention that, I mean, Solskjaer said in his interview as well that he wants to finish the season as close to City as possible. So it's definitely on his mind.
Right.
I wouldn't be too worried about rotation when it comes to United assets. He doesn't rotate. He plays all the players all the times.
I love the bit about his son coming out saying that he gets food regularly and all that stuff. The wordplay.
It definitely triggered Mourinho, and I absolutely love seeing that. I was, having my popcorn watching that interview, and I was absolutely loving every minute of it.
I love the wordplay that it was like, son, and like he was Ole brought out his son and all that stuff. It was all just so very like, what's going on?
Emotions were running high on Sunday, and I'm happy Ole gave it to him. It was good to see.
Yeah. It was a fun match. I didn't expect it to. We all expected it to be a bit cagey, right? Your typical like United like Big Six game, and like you said, like Spurs scoring first probably opened that game up a lot.
It was the first 40 minutes weren't fun. It wasn't a good game. But what I think this little incident that happened, I think it spurred United on, and that's why we saw the second half performance that we did.
Probably you're right. So, galvanize them. Any other differentials? Maybe Moura for this double.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I was reading an article on the Scout, and in the past 9 matches, his goal involvement is 35% for Spurs. He's gotten 6 to 7 returns. So a decent shout in midfield for a double game week. You could try to get lucky. I just think that there's so many good options in this price range outside of Spurs that I wouldn't get tempted to go there. That's all.
But I do think he's got his spot secured under Jose, right? I think Jose likes him. Jose likes a trier. Guy who leaves everything on the pitch. And the good thing about Spurs is if you can navigate 33, the fixtures after are pretty good. You have Sheffield and Leeds right after.
Yeah, and even after that, they're not.
They have a good run.
They're good right until the end.
They're good to run. Like
Wolves at home and Aston Villa at home as well. So
if you can't stretch to Son, for example, like Moura is not a bad shout. If you require 2 moves, 3 moves to get Son, Moura is not a bad shout. I think he's ahead of Bale in the pecking order now.
But what do you think about?
Sorry, go ahead.
What do you think about Bowen from West Ham? He's going to be playing up front. He's been doing pretty well in the last couple of weeks. What do you think about him as a differential? Still too many good players around that price bracket
That's
to
the
go
thing,
there.
right? There's just so many better options. I think, and on West Ham, like I think I don't have that much faith in West Ham. Like, because I'm assuming you get Lingard in there anyway. So I don't have that much faith in West Ham.
Yeah. I mean the differentials that I'm convinced about for the run-in is if Arsenal's out, the Arsenal guys, the United guys for sure.
Definitely.
Greenwood and Cavani. Again, there was a stat on Greenwood. Only 4 midfielders have more shots than him from the box in the last 4 or 6 matches, and he's got 7 more shots in the box than Bruno in that same period as well. So
what's happened with Bruno? We wrote something about this for that official FPL page and all that stuff. I was a bit conflicted, right? They were asking whether Bruno is a good armband option for the next few, whether Bruno should be retained. Now the next few fixtures are Burnley and Leeds. After that, it gets a little bit trickier towards the end, but I just can't imagine selling Bruno.
No, I mean, selling him now, not the right option at all. But if you don't have either, if you're picking between Greenwood and Bruno, I don't think Greenwood is a bad punt. I said it a couple of weeks ago as well. You can save some money there. I saw the full Spurs game. Bruno was very much involved in everything that we did in attack. And the underlying numbers, in my opinion, are just happenstance. I wouldn't be too worried.
Really? Because the shots in the box have dropped out significantly, right? And it's not just this game. It's the last 4 to 6 matches now. What do you think that is? Is it a change in tactics, fatigue?
Some fatigue, maybe. That's it. And maybe Paul coming back as well. Pogba had one of the best games he's had for us against Spurs as well. And he was playing on the left-hand side for us. He had a great game. Generally, there was a correlation, if you remember during mid-season, Bakar was telling us that when Pogba's playing, Bruno's numbers drop. But when I'm looking at the game, he looks involved to me. I mean, if you remember, he had a great shot as well from just outside the box, which Laurie saved. I wouldn't be too worried about Bruno.
That's fair.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat is asking us, Bruno or Salah? My answer is more.
Salah. Definitely Salah.
Yeah. All right. Any other differentials that you like? I think we're done.
Nothing much.
Yeah, I think if you're going differential, I think the guys to
Pereira.
target are the
What about
United guys, the Chelsea,
let's just touch upon Pereira. What about him?
the West Brom attacker.
Yes, West Brom's Pereira.
Good if you have him as an eighth attacker. Play him in selective games.
You think so? Because I think maybe a lot of times, right? This is the part of the season you see the guy from the relegation candidate. I know we searched for it a little bit with Maja, we didn't find it, but there's always one team that shows the fight back. We've not seen it with Fulham. We obviously not seen it with Sheffield United, but I think we are seeing it with West Brom. And I think the next 3 fixtures are decisive for them because you have Leicester, Villa, and Wolves. After that is Arsenal, Liverpool, West Ham. It's a bit trickier. So they win the next 3, they have to go all out.
Yeah, fair enough. I just go elsewhere. I'm not there yet. I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers here. West Brom numbers in attack are pretty good. Yeah, top 5 in the league in the last 4 matches for shots in the box. So yeah, why not? They're going for it right now.
It's not a bad shot. I think, like, if you ask me between Pereira or Bowen, I'd actually pick Pereira. I think he's more of a talisman in terms of your penalties, your set pieces, and all that.
Fair enough. Don't disagree with that. It's the comparison I'm having with the Arsenal guys and the Chelsea guys and the United guys. I think I prefer them if you're going the differential route compared to the template picks.
Absolutely, but I think Pereira is a decent shout. You can always put him in the correct right. Let's have a quick look at teams and defenses to target over this final stretch. So we have over here for minutes per sorted by minutes per XG conceded. As expected, Sheffield United are bottom. Palace are second. Spurs are in third. Southampton are in fourth. Burnley fifth. Villa, Newcastle, West Ham. And why I've highlighted Leeds here. Leeds are actually a bit of a funny anomaly in terms of statistics. In terms of minutes per XG conceded, they're ranked around 8th in that. But they've only conceded 4 big chances in the last 4 matches.
Yeah. Top 5 in the league for big chances conceded.
That's so strange, right? Because the Leeds, what we saw in the first half of the season, and even to let's say a few games ago, the chances they conceded were big chances. They're always in the bottom 4, bottom 3 for that metric. So something has changed there.
Yeah. Llorente, I think, has made a big difference because he was unfit for majority of the season, and they got him in for this season to partner Cooper as well because they lost White, and he's looked good. I think that's the big difference when it comes to Leeds United.
Yeah, I think that's made definitely a big thing, and then maybe we need to reorient our thinking a little bit.
But worth pointing out that Cooper's red carded now, so he's going to miss a couple of games if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, it was violent conduct, right? So violent conduct is 3 matches.
Yeah, so he's suspended until 8th May. So yeah, just how does that affect the Leeds defense? Something worth pointing out.
Robin Koch will come back or Struijk. Depends on. I think if he plays Struijk,
one of the two. Yeah.
I've actually liked Struijk. I think Struijk played pretty well. I think I would play him over Koch. I wasn't too impressed by Big Robin. So
just worth monitoring that they're losing their captain. So,
absolutely, that's actually a good point. That's something I hadn't really considered. I totally lost sight of that fact.
Yeah. I mean, from the numbers that you see here, the teams to target are pretty obvious. Sheffield United, Palace, Southampton. These 4 guys have pretty much moved to the beach at the moment. So you look to target these defenses. And West Ham's numbers are also looking good when talking about teams playing against them. They're
7th worst or 8th worst. 7th worst.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, I think 19th for shots in the box conceded.
Yeah. So yeah, anything else? Anybody else? West Brom are actually posting decent numbers in defense, so we need to reorient our thinking there. And I think Newcastle are going to tighten up the ship as well now.
Agree.
Yeah. Move on. What do we have next?
To hot fixtures for this game week. Since we have some time now, we're only about an hour in. We can talk about more fixtures than we usually do. Let's talk about first Everton Spurs, the Friday night game. What do you think?
Pragmatic 1-0 sort of win for Spurs. I expect it to be a tight game, and I expect Harry Kane to score 1 goal against Spurs. That's how I see the game. I think Ancelotti is going to be pretty practical in this game as well, and I think
he's going to be super defensive.
Yeah, maybe Everton score 1 as well. Maybe a 1-1 because Spurs' defensive numbers are not that good.
I really don't see Spurs keeping a clean sheet. I guess maybe it depends to an extent if DCL plays, which Carlos says he will, but I really don't trust him on that. Something to watch out for. Maybe like a 1-1, but I don't see a lot of goals in here. Newcastle, West Ham.
I think this is going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to what transpires in this game, especially after what we saw of ASM in the previous one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I'm calling a score draw here as well.
1-1, 2-2, 0-0. Sorry, not 0-0, obviously.
Maybe 2-0, maybe 2-2.
That 2-2 would be good, I think, for Newcastle more so than West Ham. Newcastle will be, I think, happy with a draw in this fixture.
Yeah, how do you see this game transpiring?
I think, again, it depends, like, I'm going to be saying this a lot on who scores the first goal and at what time. Like, a goal would really open up this game. If it's like 0-0 till like 45, 60th minute and all that stuff, it could be like, your cagey, dull affair. But it all comes down to who scores the first goal. So, but I'm going to go 2-1 West Ham.
All right. Wolves, Sheffield United. I think we can skip this one. Arsenal, Fulham. This is the game we spoke about how we transfer, because Fulham need to go for it in this game. So how do you see this game panning out? Arsenal will be playing on Thursday night as well, so worth mentioning that.
I think Arsenal will take. I think Fulham's. I think the last game really kicked them in the nuts. So I think they're going to be a bit shaken up after that. I'm going 2-0 Arsenal for this.
All right. Yeah, I think I agree. Depends on Lookman's fitness for me.
Ultimately, how much ever they attack, they're going to have to play on the counter a little bit, right? And they need Lookman to do that.
Yep. United, Burnley. I'm expecting a comfortable win, and I fancy us to score 3 in this game.
Clean sheet?
Fancy us to score 3.
I don't think you'll keep a clean sheet. I think 3-1. 3-1-2-1. But do you think Dyche will be as ambitious? I know he's been like that against Spurs and all that stuff, but against United, I think he's going to revert to parking the bus a little bit.
Yeah, I know, but I'm feeling confident. I think the boys will be up for it. They're in good nick as well. So, yeah, I'm feeling confident ahead of the United Burnley game.
Yeah, I'd say 2-0, 2-1, something like that. I don't see that many goals.
Yep.
Leeds, Liverpool, this is the game actually. The first game of the season. A reverse fixture of that.
Yeah. Do you think? I think Bielsa is going to go for it. I don't think he's going to give Liverpool as much respect as he gave City. I think it's going to be a great game. I say Liverpool win this 2-1.
Yep, I think I would go with that. I don't see Liverpool keeping a clean sheet in this one. 2-1.
Chelsea, Brighton, your boys.
2-0. I think this game is, more than any other game this weekend screams 2-0.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Brighton will do their huff and puff and try about, but I think Chelsea will be too strong for them. Are you expecting to stick with the same front three in the league against Brighton?
I think you might have, let's see, because he's going to probably play the same guys who started against Palace, against Porto, right? So you're going to see Pulisic, Havertz, and Mount. I do think he'll need to change it up a little bit. Might give Ziyech a go over Pulisic, because Pulisic, I worry a little bit when he starts 3 games in a week. His hamstring is quite dodgy. I think he might go with Ziyech because it'll be a little bit more of a deeper block, right? With Brighton with the 3 at the back and all this. He might go with Ziyech, I think, over Pulisic here.
All right.
Maybe Timo.
Okay. Spurs, Southampton. How do you see that game going?
So this is the second fixture of the double, right? This is, I think, is a fixture where I see Kane banging in a few.
Yeah, likewise. I see Spurs scoring maybe 2 or 3 and Southampton getting 1. So 2-1 or a 3-1 victory for Spurs.
Southampton's attack, I think Spurs might keep they're more likely to keep a clean sheet, I think, here than against Everton. I might be wrong, but I think I'm going 2-0 Spurs.
Fair enough. Villa City, how do you see this game? I think City will
2-0 City.
This,
2-0.
Yeah, fairly comfortably. Standard City fare that we've been seeing all season. 2-0 City, I agree.
And I think it'll be a strong lineup even after the cup, right? Because there's a decent bit of gap now. You have to remember we play City in the semi-final on Saturday. It says Thursday over here because this is India time, but effectively it's a Wednesday game. So you have a longer period of rest. You have like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days of rest. So I think he'll go strong to get 3 points on the board.
Great. Leicester, West Brom. Do you see West Brom causing troubles to Leicester? I think we'll see a reaction from Leicester. I'm expecting a 2-0 win from Leicester.
I don't see a clean sheet. I think, but again, it goes back to like maybe 4 weeks ago, you'd have asked me, I would have said 3-0 Leicester.
Yeah.
But West Brom, really don't know. They're just riding a bit of a wave at the moment. I think they might draw this because Leicester's home form hasn't been that great this season.
I agree, but I'm expecting a reaction from that team after that game against West Ham. And Maddison will be back. I think they'll be desperate to get 3 points on the
Let
board.
me ask you, do you think they'll beat Southampton in the cup?
Oof. Tough game, but I think they will. I rate Rogers. I think I expect him to. I expect him to steady the ship. He's done a fabulous job this season, and as much as I loved seeing him bottle it last season, I want him to get it right this one.
Yeah. I'm just hoping they drop out of the Champions League spaces. That's why I keep predicting Leicester to drop points. But
Yeah. You think you'll get fourth?
I think so. With the fixtures they have, I think they will get fourth. How much is the points gap with I think through third and fourth there's a decent bit of points gap or not? I don't think there's much of a points gap now.
Yeah, it's very tight. I'm just opening up the table here. Leicester on 56, West Ham 55, Chelsea 54.
Yeah, so it's really close. So Leicester let's say lose a game and the other two guys win. They drop out. So
and Liverpool's 52, so it's tight. And Liverpool have the best run in. They'll fancy themselves for this.
Right. All right. I'm gonna say it. I'm predicting Leicester to choke.
All right.
I'm hoping Leicester choke, if nothing else.
Yeah, this was pretty much me last year. Because we were competing with Leicester for that.
I mean, we were too, right? It went to the last week of the season. But okay, let's just quickly touch upon captaincy. I know this week is a bit of a no-brainer in terms of
should probably be the shortest captaincy conversation we've had ever.
So
don't look beyond Kane.
Don't look beyond Kane. If you really feel like betting against Kane, go with Son.
I wouldn't even say that.
I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to, why not?
Fair enough.
Let's move on to the...
Such a shame for it to be a double game because, you have the Liverpool Leeds fixture, you have the United Burnley fixture, you have the Arsenal Fulham fixture, you have some good fixtures. Even City, Aston Villa, there are some good fixtures.
If you had to pick one player outside Spurs, who would you pick?
I'd go with Mo Salah against Leeds.
Salah against Leeds, right? I was thinking that too, not Bruno.
Yeah. No, Mo Salah against Leeds.
I'd agree with
he's
that.
Getting the underlying numbers are back, and he's on the back of 2 goals in 2 games, so he's going to be confident.
Yep, and they're probably going to go out of the Champions League, so you expect some sort of reaction. I like that this game is on Monday, so they have a decent period of rest also after the Real Madrid match.
Yep. Okay, just going to take you guys through my team. I have a decision between Martinez and Areola for keeper. Who would you play? Areola versus Arsenal or Martinez versus City?
I would never bench Martinez.
You would never, even if it's City, it doesn't matter.
He's got 4 points the last 2 games against pretty difficult opposition, right? Martinez, that save he made, my God, the one which Trent actually hit the rebound off.
Yeah.
Electric.
It was of Thiago, if I'm not mistaken.
Of Thiago, you're absolutely right. Yeah. But you really cannot bet against Martinez at any point. And Fulham, the problem is, I just don't see them even get. The problem is they don't even concede that many shots to rack up the save points, right? That's the best thing about Villa. They concede your low quality chances, which helps Martinez rack up these save points. So I'd just go with Martinez there.
They've got a little bit of a injury issue of their own. I think Trezeguet and Traore both had some sort of niggles or injuries, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So they have bare bones in attack at the moment. Barkley and Ghazi are the only ones.
That's true.
Playing with Watkins.
Even Watkins' goal was a bit lucky, right? Ultimately, you'd expect Alisson to save that. It was pretty much hit straight at Alisson.
Just for the benefit of the listeners as well, I'll read out my team. I've got Areola as my keeper at the moment. I might shift to Martinez after taking Zoph's advice. In defense, I've got Shaw, Rudiger, Reguilon, and Cancelo. In midfield, I have Jota, Salah, and Son. Up front, I have Kane, Iheanacho, and main man Kun. Now, I'm going to wait, obviously, to hear what Pep says about Kun's fitness. I'm not expecting him to be fit. So I'm going to shift Aguero out and get either Cavani or Lacazette or Vardy in.
Cavani is the one to go for.
Cavani is the one you're recommending another player. Yeah, and plus it's a fun thing for me to do. So
it marries up with the whole things, right? I like Cavani against these deeper defenses, against Burnley and all that stuff. So I'll fancy him over there, and it marries into the United player fun aspect for you.
Correct. So that's probably my move at the moment.
Yeah, the chat must be gutted. You're pronouncing Areola correctly now.
Yeah. I know you are, because you'll be smoking and not correcting me.
Absolutely.
I read a couple of comments on the YouTube post last time, and I was like, I need to get this one right.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Let's go through Bakar's team. I'll just read his team out. He's already made his moves.
He's finally gotten Kane in, huh?
Yep, finally.
Yeah.
This week could have been suicidal without Kane. So he's got.
I had that little chat with him that he has with you before deadline every week. So he messaged me last week around, and I said you need to have a plan for Kane. And he had a couple of more expensive strikers, so I told him sell. Make sure you're getting enough money for Kane, and I'm glad he's gotten Kane.
Yep.
No way he can.
Yep. So Areola in goal, Cancelo, Rudiger, Shaw, and Alonso in defense. Salah, Fernandes, Son, Gundogan in midfield, Iheanacho and Kane up top with Kane at captain, Martinez, Rafinha, Phillips and Watkins on the bench. Lot of rotation risks in his starting lineup, but at least his bench is relatively strong. It doesn't look that strong. I would say Rafinha, Phillips, Watkins probably isn't the best, but you have Cancelo, Gundogan and Alonso, maybe even Rudiger to an extent, game time risk. So he might be needing his bench a little bit this week.
Yep. It's proving to be useful. So many Dallas second and third subs coming in this week. So definitely useful.
It's been ridiculous amount of auto subs that have come on the last 2 weeks. I've had to use 5 auto subs in the last 2 matches.
Yep, 2 for me this week as well. So yeah. The bench is going to come in handy if you're having City players.
That's what I realized more so, especially with City players in there. Right. I've also made my moves early. I'll just read my team out. I've got Martinez, Rudiger, Shaw, Diaz. In midfield, Lingard, Son, Salah, Bruno, Jota. Up top, Iheanacho and Kane. On the bench, Fabry, Cancelo, White and Brewster. So my moves were, who did I sell? Yeah, it's Rafinha for Lingard and DCL to Iheanacho.
Good moves. Getting the form guys in sync with the article that you wrote for the Scout this week as well.
This week was all about monitoring, right? Whether who I need to get and how I need to get. So I have a clear path for next week as well in terms of what I want to do. I'm going to be selling Diaz and Cancelo for holding and TAA. So that aligns up with the fixture swing as well.
Nice. Like the plan. Really hoping you get the top 1K finish. Cheering you on.
Thank you. Hope so too. It looks difficult. Little bit behind the ball now with the wildcard, but last week was a week I was really the most worried about, right, in terms of all the wildcards being played. So I think that's behind me now. I've only lost about, I would say, 15 points, 20 points over there, so can make it back up.
I was surprised you didn't own Lingard, to be very honest, because you've been bullish on Lingard for the past few weeks.
I know the problem was I was off the ball the entire last week since I was I missed the price rise to get in, so I was fixed with the choice of getting Jota on Lingard, and given the choice again, I would have definitely gone with Jota, and I didn't really know which way to take a hit, right? Because I needed to make a plan to get in Lingard, Iheanacho, TA, and all that stuff. So who to prioritize, when to prioritize. So I got a bit more of an idea now.
Yeah, and we weren't expecting Leicester to be off defensively.
That's the primary thing. We looked at Leicester stats. Top 3 for shots in the box, and then you have the whole Antonio. I mean, if Antonio was fit, Lingard would have probably been straight away, but just that Antonio fitness issue created doubt in my mind.
Yep. All right, I think that's it. We're going to move to the questions.
Just you have to mention the shout out from Jatin Sapru, I think.
Just mentioning, I think I mentioned at the top of the pod as well, the winner in Gameweek 33 wins a shout out from Jatin Sapru as well. So just wanted to add that as well. And if you haven't already liked or subscribed, just make sure that you're doing so. It really helps our channel out. We're going to segue into the Q&A section now. So we will stick around for about 15-20 minutes off.
Yep. Got all the time.
Good. Yeah. So guys in the chat, feel free to hit us with your questions and we'll be happy to answer them.
Let me also open up the chat window now. For our audio listeners, this is now when we are taking questions from the chat.
Bench one of, this is the question from Anderson FPL Zoph. Bench one of Mount, Lingard or Jota this week?
Mount, Lingard or Jota. There's no real right answer to that question, really. Mount, Lingard, Jota. Probably.
How do you even answer? How do you even answer?
Probably Mount, I would say, with a heavy heart, because I think he probably has the lowest ceiling of those 3 guys.
Yeah, I agree. Swagat Pandya is asking us about our views on Bruno. We already did that. If you own him, definitely don't sell. Don't sell for the next 2 fixtures. The next 2 fixtures are good. So Lingard in for Rafinha, worth a hit. What do you say about that, Zoph? I don't think it's worth a hit.
I think it is. I think it is
Do you
because
think
he's
it's worth
just
a
like,
hit?
the problem is a player like Lingard, you're always going to be waiting. Oh, he's not worth a hit, not worth a transfer. Just get him in. He's get him in and set and forget for the rest of the season. I think a player is worth a hit, whether if you can, he's going to be in your team for the next 5 to 6 weeks.
Fair enough. I just fancy a little bit of Rafinha against Liverpool. I think he's going to get some points in the game.
Probably, but then again, depends what sort of setup Leeds go for, right? If they go for the defensive setup or they go for more attacking.
Fair enough. Apur was asking us about updates about double game week 35. When do we expect that news? Of any idea on that?
Ben Crellin expects it to happen after the FA Cup semi-finals because you can't really do that. Ultimately, they need the scheduling for which team makes the final, right? Because accordingly, the teams who make the final, the fixtures need to get postponed because there's a clash with like 36, 37 or something like that. So it can only happen after the FA Cup results. So probably towards the end of next week, I would say.
All right. Kinga Rinchen is asking us triple captain Kane this week. Absolutely. Both of us are in agreement there. Rohan Kane is asking, sell one of Stones or Cancelo? Which one would you sell?
Cancelo.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think Cancelo, A, is more likely to come on for a cameo. I think B, he's fallen a little bit out of favor with Pep because of the mistakes he's made. And I think Stones and Diaz, he won't mess around with till the league is won now.
Yep. Gaurav Devan is asking, he's played a wildcard in Game Week 31, gave me a nice boost in overhang. How does one stay ahead of others who are now getting the wildcard assets? I think, Gaurav, people are going to be still a while away from getting the ideal team. So you just make sure you're looking for the weakest link in your team and getting a better replacement and focus on making good decisions. Don't need to overthink this one. I think this season is one which is sort of hurt the risk takers and the overthinkers. You keep it simple and expect it to work this season.
Absolutely.
That's what I'd say.
Absolutely.
Yogesh Rupani has sent us a super chat. Son in for Bruno as a punt. Also, any TC option in 35. If you have the TC chip left, use it this game week on Kane, is what both of us would recommend. Would you get in Son for Bruno? Good question that.
See, you have to keep in mind, right? Effectively, Son and Bruno play the same number of fixtures. Son plays a double this week but doesn't have a fixture next week. It's only a real double if the two fixtures are really separated. This isn't really a true double. So I wouldn't do it unless you're planning to captain Son.
Fair enough. I'm in agreement as well. We have Kumar Kuntipuram sending us another super chat. The question is Gundogan for Madison. Is it a good move for this game week? I like it because I think Leicester at the start of their great run of fixtures, I don't mind that Madison didn't move for Gundogan this week. Zoph?
Yep, I agree with the fixture swing. It makes sense. And Gundogan now is pretty much a liability I think, to keep him in your team. We really don't know what's going to happen with the team selection. Although it's likely to start because of some City dropping points, but it's not worth holding on to.
All right. Bharat sent in a super chat as well. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the love. Tuhin Deb is asking, game week 33 free hit or wait for the double blank? I mean, it totally depends on your team, Tuhin. If you have about 9 or 10 people starting in game week 33, then wait for a double blank in game week 35 onwards is what I'd say.
I agree.
Any other questions? Is it worth selling Cresswell to Tar for a hit? What do you reckon?
Cresswell's out from the rumors are Cresswell's out for 2 to 3 weeks, so definitely get rid of him. What was the question? To whom?
This was a question from Michael.
What was the question exactly? Would you ask him selling Cresswell?
Cresswell to Trent for Trent.
Oh yes, for sure. Even if you have to take a hit to do that, I would do that move.
All right. Who would you prioritize this week? It's a good question. A couple of people asked this. Lingard or Jota?
Tough one.
Yeah. I'd say Jota. I think better team. All the good players are fit. I'd say Jota.
I'd say so too. I think you'd have to back Jota, but you could make the form argument over Lingard, but I would say Jota is pretty much in form as well, right?
Yeah, agreed. I'd say Jota. I think better team, better fixtures.
And also, you have to keep in mind next week Lingard plays Chelsea.
Yeah.
So in terms of the fixture, and Jota plays Newcastle, so definitely Jota.
All right. Albas has sent in a super chat. If you had no Man United attacker, would you force Bruno in for a hit Also bringing in Davies, or punt with Greenwood or Cavani with a free transfer. Punt with Greenwood or Cavani. I think it's a good time to do it
I'd agree
right
with you
now.
completely. I don't think Bruno is worth tearing up your team now. I think they're pretty good alternatives.
Yeah, and if you're spending on a big hitter, I think Salah is where you spend your money in midfield.
Agree.
Mitrovic or Vidra or other differentials to get ahead now that Iheanacho is kind of template? Kano is asking. We spoke about the Chelsea attackers. We spoke about the United attackers, Cavani and Greenwood.
He's looking for a striker, I think, in particular.
Lacazette, but he's expensive. Not
Let's talk about mid-price strikers. I think Diagne.
yeah. Especially since you mentioned their attacking numbers, and he's got massive XG. Me here in the chat mentioned that as well. His
He had
numbers are
a
really
ridiculous goal ruled out yesterday for the offside thing. He should have really
terrible.
on the score sheet.
Yeah, I mean these guys are. I mean, just talking about the referees, they're not using common sense when making their decisions. It's a travesty to watch. I'm hoping it's better next season. That's all. Any other cheap strikers? Nobody else.
Nobody else I can really think of. Because no, maybe Martinelli.
Martinelli is
But
a
he's
midfielder.
He's a midfielder.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. There's nobody else. I think
The striker pool is pretty small right now.
Yeah. You push up and finds the fun for Cavani because he's the striker punt there for the taking right now. Shashank Singh is asking a question. Zoph, I think it's a good question for you. Should he do Mount to Lingard?
No. I don't necessarily think Mount to Lingard would necessarily benefit, but that could be a bit of Chelsea bias there. Disclaimer.
Fair enough. No, I don't think it's
because you have to keep in mind fixtures, right? Maybe like you look at the next two fixtures for Mount. Maybe get Lingard in for the Burnley game.
Yeah, agreed. Question from Suchet Kumar: is Salah worth tearing up our team to keep Son, Bruno, and him, or just do Son to Salah in 33 and keep Salah till the end?
Could you repeat, please?
He's asking if it's Salah's worth tearing up his team so that he has Son, Bruno, and him, or should he just do Son to Salah in 33 and keep Salah till the end?
I think Son to Salah in 33 works because even though Spurs have these good fixtures, right? I'm a little bit skeptical about them as a unit in general.
Yeah, agreed. And Salah and Bruno are definitely the more premium picks. I rate them as as Salah, Bruno, and Son in that order.
Absolutely.
That's all. If you have Son for the double game week, obviously hold him. But after that, I think that's my order.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Best replacement for Gundo. I mean, we've spoken about Jota. We've spoken about Lingard. So a lot of players in that player pool. We've spoken about Greenwood as a punt. We've spoken about Chelsea midfielders as punts. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covered. Alonso, keeper sell. Suchet is asking this question.
I would be in a better position to answer it, I would like to say, after the Champions League game today, but because this would be what Chilwell's now played the first leg. He's now played Palace. You'd expect him to start today. That being said, it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, or I think Tuesday, Saturday, no, Tuesday. Yeah, Saturday also you'd expect Chilwell to play against Man City, right?
What?
So probably give Alonso one more week because I think against Brighton's tall defense, he probably will be required. Give Alonso one more week.
All right. Is KDB a sell now? Question from Jagat Chetri.
No, I think hold on to KDB after dropping points the last game. I think KDB is going to start the league fixture now.
Ahmad Krish Amesur is asking a question. If you could get one of Son or Salah this week, who would you get?
Good question. Again, that goes to the same argument, right? They both effectively have the same number of fixtures. So it's tricky. I guess to a certain extent, it depends on the makeup of your team, whether you can...
Agreed. Yeah, afford to take that luxury transfer. That's all. Because if your team is in place otherwise, then get Son first and then convert him to Salah.
If you have to take a hit, like we see the other transfers you want to mix. A lot of times what happens is when you book in a transfer, you can't jump on other transfers. This is something I realized this week, right? Because I did the free hit in 29. My mindset from 30 has only been about one thing. Get rid of the City players. And because of that, you sort of become myopic in terms of these things.
Yep. Michael Flattery is asking me if I'm free hitting in 33. No, I've got a decent enough team for 33, so I don't see myself free hitting in 33. It's probably going to be towards the back end of the season or game week 38. Ashwin, we spoke about Chelsea attacking options at the top of the pod as well. Abhishek is asking us is there any other Spurs midfielder that we recommend? We spoke about Lucas Moura. Yeah. So he's a decent punt in midfield from the Spurs team for the double game week. But in my opinion, there are much better midfielders in that price bracket. Therefore, the
Right,
taking.
and again, like I have to keep mentioning this fact again and again, right? Do not look at Spurs double purely like as a double, because if you have to bench them next week or you have to field 10 next week, because effectively they're all playing the same number of fixtures. They all have 2 matches over the next 2 weeks.
Agreed. Couple of striker questions coming in. Who should they sell for Iheanacho, DCL or Watkins?
DCL is injured, so I think
At
probably
the
sell
moment.
DCL. But it's tricky with DCL because the only reason I also held him on for another week, right? I think he's one of the few few players who's guaranteed to have that double in 35. And what makes him unique is that he won't have the blank. A lot of teams that are going to have the double, or we think will have that double, are going to have a blank right after, because Villa and Everton have a fixture still to be played. They're guaranteed a double without a blank. So keep a close eye on the press conferences, right? If Ancelotti is more optimistic on DCL playing on Friday, hold on to him and sell Watkins.
All right. Last 3 questions, Zoph.
Sure. I can go for longer also. I'm quite.
All right, cool. Hamza is asking, if you were going for 2 from the Chelsea defense, who would they be?
Interesting. Rudiger and Mendy. Probably let's leave Mendy out for a second. I think that's a bit of a cop out by me. Let's say Rudiger and Aspie.
Agreed. I wouldn't go for the upside with the defenders. Bakar's in the chat. What's up, Bakar? I hope your computer is fine. We missed you today. Premier League top 4 predictions. This is a good question. What do you reckon, Zoph?
I mean, City, United are pretty much sealed, right?
Yeah, so 3rd and 4th.
3rd and 4th, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Liverpool.
You
think Leicester and West Ham both will drop out?
I think so. West Ham, I think, the problem is they have players who are dropping like flies, right? I think they're riding the momentum, but all it's going to take, I think, is one loss to derail it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think Leicester will, manage to hold their position in the 4th, and I'm expecting one of Chelsea or Liverpool to get into the top 4. You guys are winning the Champions League anyway, so doesn't matter too much.
I would love that.
Yeah. Ruben Diaz, keep or sell? Question from Suchet Kumar.
Keep until City clinch.
Agreed. If you have a free transfer and if you have a move there for the taking, and if you can afford Trent, I'd go for that.
That's a good point you make. The only guy I would probably sell him for now is Trent.
Yep. Is Havertz safe for starts off? Question from Anders.
I think so. The thing with Havertz is A, he's not played much this whole season, and B, he's young, so I don't think the fatigue is that much of an issue for him.
Cool. I think we'll end the stream. I have to rush as well.
We can do something again. I was thinking for Friday evening, we can do a short Q&A after the Champions League or what. So we'll see how you are placed, how Bakar is placed.
Sounds good.
We can do another Q&A then.
All right. And thank you so much, guys, for being with us. A pretty good audience for our first live stream. I hope you enjoyed this. And apologies for the Neto and Podence
There's no need to apologize for that. There's nothing, as you said something at the beginning of the talk also, which I didn't want to interrupt you at that time. There's it doesn't matter what your current rank is or whatsoever. It doesn't make you any less worthy of your opinions. A good season happens, up and downs happen, a lot of things come down to luck and variance, and your opinion is taken very seriously by me and everybody else still. So please continue.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. About the confusion when it comes to Podence and Neto.
I know. You mentioned at the beginning of the chat about your rank and all that stuff. So don't worry about that at all.
Appreciate it. And thank you, guys. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do so now, and we'll see you next week. Bakar just mentioned that he's in for a Q&A, so we'll probably be doing a Q&A sometime later this week. If not, see you next week.
We'll let you guys know on Twitter, and we will schedule it over here on the YouTube channel. So definitely subscribe and switch your notifications on for that one.
Yeah. Also, I think the next pod is going to be a little while because we have games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as well. So
it's interesting how we want to play that. We can probably do a shorter one or something. Maybe midweek or whatsoever.
Yeah, we can probably do a shorter one midweek. Sounds good.
Again, something on Friday. Right.
All
Great chatting to you.
All right. See you guys. Take care.
See you.